Broads Media.
Well, that was an interesting week of Eagles football. Now we're here on a Football Friday, and it's time to look ahead. We're going to break it all down. Before we do, if you are new to the channel, hello, welcome on in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, join the Broads Media family, hit the thumbs up button as well. And by the way, you can take these podcasts on the road with you by going to Apple Podcast and Spotify, and you can leave a 5-star rating and a review over there. It truly helps out the algorithm so much. We're trying to get to 300 ratings on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So that is the goal set. Can't thank you all enough. Real quick, we all love sports betting. It's the best in the entire world, right? Well, what if I told you you have the opportunity to check out all the fantastic bonuses that are available for you on all the online sports books? All you have to do is check out the link in the description, bookies.com/broads, and you have the opportunity to see special sign-up bonuses all around town, and it's essentially giving you a nice little how do you do. You'd be a fool not to do it. Check it all out. Seriously, bookies.com/broads. With that, thank you all so much and enjoy the show. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Broads. So it's a Football Friday. We sit here on a Friday early afternoon, and we look ahead to a Steelers matchup Sunday. It's a huge game. I really do believe that this is just as important as last year's matchup against the 49ers, which was at the link as well. That's what changed the trajectory of the season. And this, following all the drama, is what can change the trajectory of the season. If it's ugly and it gets gross and this passing offense sucks and A.J. Brown is unhappy and comments are made post-game and you're reacting heavily and there's something stupid said, uh-oh. But the flip side is, if they go out and win, and if they get a competent passing game, I'm not saying elite, I'm not even saying very good, I'm not even saying great. If they have a passing game that is satisfactory, then we can be in good shape and continue this surge for a playoff push. And I expect them to. I expect them to. There's a little fear in this regard. The Steelers, they can take away the football. They force turnovers. But here's the kicker. TJ Watt, machine. Legendary. Lane Johnson. It's not as if TJ Watt goes up against Lane Johnson every single week. It's a different type of statue over at right tackle to maneuver around. I don't know if that's the right word. Statue stands still. Lane Johnson's going to be moving left and right and whooping your ass. But I'm saying TJ Watt's still going to have success. But the level of success that he has when he's not playing Lane Johnson, greater than when he's playing Lane Johnson. But that's a key matchup. Key matchup. So it goes back to the turnovers. And we all feel, as a fan base, that the reason why maybe A.J. Brown in the passing game isn't as efficient as we need it to be is because there's been such a focus from Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni to not turn the rock over. And I like the fact that they're not putting the ball in harm's way, but you can't be scared to make the plays that are available and the simplistic plays. If you can't execute that, then it's not good enough. And are we going to see Jalen get out of his comfort zone and try and target his receivers, knowing that the Steelers have the ability to turn the football over? You can pass on them, though. They're about 17th in the league in passing. So that's what makes this extremely intriguing. I can't wait to see their response. I'm looking forward to their response. I think they handled the week as well as you possibly could. It's a really tough position that Brandon Graham put this franchise in, without a doubt. But reality is, I give a lot of credit to Nick Sirianni. I thought he was phenomenal. with Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie. What was that, Tuesday morning when he did his weekly hit? Thought he was good. I thought BG was good when he went in studio. I thought Jordan Mailata, though, was the star of the show. Swear to God. Think about it. This dude's never played football in his life. He comes here. He goes to Jeff Stoutland University. He locks the fuck in. He gets a bag, so he gets paid big time. He's one of the best left tackles in the league. And now he's speaking up and being a crucial voice. And if you think about the projection of where this voice is going to go, he might be an all-time leader by the time it's all said and done. If this is what he's doing now, Jason Kelsey leaves, Fletcher Cox leaves, Brandon Graham's hurt, Lane Johnson's still here. I guess Lane isn't as vocal as maybe we think, and that's not a knock on him. Some guys are more of a, I'm going to take it on the field. You're going to see my work ethic in my barn. Come work out with me and lift some weights in the barn, and that's how you'll see what type of effort I show every single day. That's no knock on Lane. But I'll tell you what, Jordan Mailata has taken a massive step. If you didn't hear, this was Jordan Mailata in the middle of the locker room, right? Jalen's going to have his standard weekly press conference. A.J. Brown standing in front of his locker, and he has 5 billion cameras and phones and microphones in his face. Jordan Mailata steps up. This is quick. It's only about 17 seconds, so listen closely. Here's Jordan Mailata on setting the record straight.
Yeah, thanks. Jordan, was this addressed in a team meeting today at all? And does it seem like if it was, that this is now over?
Yes. We are moving on. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, not the A.J. Brown and Jalen show. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I love it. I really do love it. That is fucking awesome. That is tremendous. And there is a way. I cannot believe I'm going to say this. I cannot believe it because I was laughing at people who felt this way earlier in the week. And just to clarify here, I feel way better than I did on Monday night when BG spoke originally on the Brandon Graham show, Tuesday morning and Wednesday. Wednesday, I was emotionally unstable. Tuesday, I was panicking. Now that we're here Friday and we got to hear them talk, I feel better. I'm not saying I feel perfect. I'm saying I feel better. But seeing things like that, I never really thought that there could be positives to come out of this. I'm starting to wonder, and Sunday is going to be what tells us everything we need to know. At the end of the day, the way they show up to compete and the way they talk post-game, depending on the context of the game, will tell us the direction and will tell us what this team learned or didn't learn throughout this entire process, because this was ugly as hell. They're still breaking it down nationally on all these different platforms because it's that massive of a story. You don't see Brandon Graham do what Brandon Graham did, and Brandon Graham's smart, so I don't think it was an accident. But anyway, they did enough to sell an image publicly. Whether AJ and Jalen are super tight or not, they sold an image that allows us to take a deep breath, and they did the right thing publicly, and that's all you can ask for them to do in such a disappointing time or a frustrating time or a toxic time. You got to put out the fire. Nick Sirianni led this team. I think it was discussed properly on how we are going to handle this when we do have to talk for the first time, and they seem to all be on the same page and respond as best as they could in a shitty situation. But back to what I was trying to get to here, which is it could be possible that this actually rallies the troops. And I would have never thought in a million years I'd get there. But if guys like Mailata now show signs of strong leadership that wouldn't have happened prior to this, well, now it elevates Jordan Mailata. And maybe there are others behind the scenes that it did the same thing for. That's just one example. But when you go through something like this, there's 20, 30, 40 different conversations. And if somebody behind the scenes, behind closed doors, maybe in a team meeting, when Nick Sirianni's doing his spiel and somebody steps up and goes, yo, listen, motherfuckers, listen up. You know what I'm saying? Like someone takes it by the balls and runs with it. And maybe it was Mailata then too. I don't know. But there could be smaller victories outside of just product on the field that elevates people in that room. And then in the long run, now Mailata's voice significantly stronger, can mean more in a different setting, can mean more down the road. I don't know. I'm just not ruling that out. And at the time, I was just in so much disbelief that BG even did what he did that I couldn't even get to that mental state to try and consume any sort of positives because, well, it smelled like a disaster. And I still think there's something happening behind the scenes because this doesn't happen if everything's all good, truth be told. But I do feel better now. If I'm being honest, I am over it. I don't want to do it. It's not enjoyable for me. But as I laid out, beginning of the week, I was Wednesday, Thursday, I was trending in the right direction. Friday, I don't feel as good as I did Wednesday, Thursday about the morale because there are some things, if I truly wanted to nitpick, I'd go, I cringe. So I kind of went back in the wrong direction a little bit. But if I look at it big picture, I feel better than I did previously, if that made sense. So felt awful. Improved big time, dipped a little as we sit here today, but not enough where I truly want to analyze every single little word about it. But I will share some audio with you because here's Jalen Hurts and, just kind of his explanation when he first was able to sit down and talk at the podium with everybody and share his thoughts on what transpired. Here's Jalen.
We're good. We're good.
Did you two talk after Brandon's comments?
We've spoken. I think in the end, Brandon, BG, we're calling him Brandon, BG knows he spoke out of place, and he knows that. So.
What was your reaction when I'm sure your phone started blowing up and that was going around? What was your reaction to it?
It's just about the team in the end. I think overall, that's where my focus is. I think that's where everyone's focus is at heart and trying to do what's best for the team. And ultimately, everyone cares about the team's success. And so, whenever something happens, whatever it is, I look at myself first, because everything starts and ends with me. And I take great pride in what I do. I take great pride in the responsibilities that I have when I am to the city and to this team. And I challenge myself on that. I'm my best when I'm my biggest critic, and I have to continue to challenge myself on being critical on some things so I can be better. And in the end, everyone expresses themselves differently, and I respect that, and I accept how anyone shows up. But ultimately, I look at myself first, and I say, how can I be better? What do I need to do to be better, and ultimately play at the highest level I can play? And that's what it takes to play complimentary football at its fullest. And so that's what the goal is. Everybody's coming in here. I just told the team, everybody dominate their box. Everyone, including myself. And that's what it's about.
So I actually think that was a tremendous answer. The only part that makes me raise my eyebrows is he was almost as if the big-time parent there speaking to the vet who's been around for a long time. BG spoke out of place. He knows that. Just the tone, and obviously Jalen speaks in a very Jalen Hurts way, so the delivery of it is comedy as well, but it makes me go, oh, all right. But here's the positive of it, right? Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of the team. For him to stand up there and be like, yo, he messed up, right? Isn't that a big sign? Isn't that a big sign of leadership to have the ability to say that the way that he did in such a very traumatic time for this locker room? Without a doubt. Then he goes on and speaks the way that I think was a tremendous answer, and that's what the bulk of Wednesday. I believe it was Wednesday, right? Some of these days are getting me all mixed up because I did a bunch of overnights on the radio. So it's crazy. When you do 2 to 6 a.m., you come home and sleep. You did a Wednesday show. You fall asleep. You wake up and you think, oh, it's Thursday. No, it's still Wednesday. So my brain is all out of whack here. One hell of a week to fill in 5 days, though. I'll tell you what. It was pretty entertaining to see the reaction of everybody along with me, where every day it started to improve, and some are not even close to feeling positive yet, and they're waiting for a Sunday game to move the needle for them, which I understand, which I do understand. So that's actually a good transition here. Here's something that I'm going to try and figure out. If you are Kellen Moore, and I know for a fact that Kellen Moore is so focused on the lack of turnovers, which is good, but it's so emphasized. I mean, he said it in his most recent press conference and stressed it highly. We got to find a way to still focus on that, but open up the passing game too. So, if you are Kellen Moore and you are dialing up your plan and your scheme, do you stick to what makes you magnificent and forget about the feelings of AJ? Forget feelings for a second. If you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you'd have to imagine that the passing game needs to improve. So forget feelings. If you're Kellen Moore, do you think let's keep going to work, applying the pressure the way that we do, running the football and staying to our strengths, even if our passing game is at the bottom of the league and one of the most putrid offenses throwing the football the league has to offer? Do we stay with that, or do we try our very best at this point to still stay true to what has gotten you here? Not take it to an extreme, but we have to elevate. We have to improve. We have to find that balance of seeing how can we attack and make this a multi-layered offense, where if teams are going to try their best to take away Saquon, the ability to annihilate them at will in the passing game is automatic. And I think the answer is yes. So essentially what I'm saying here is, it's not about feeding AJ to make him happy. I think that's almost the side effect. That's almost the cause and effect. I'm looking more big picture. I'm looking more with the eyes set on the prize, which is I want to do what's best to maximize this team and try and win a championship. And with that, what is going to stop us is potentially not being able to throw the rock as well as we need to. So with the final few games here, Pittsburgh, some of these NFC East matchups, we need to dive deep and see how we can get something significant attacking the air yards. It just needs to happen. I would try my best against the Steelers to make that something that is my goal. Make that my goal. So if it means Saquon gets 3, 4, 5 less carries and I'm forcing stuff to happen in the pass game, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I think it's important. And also, I was listening to Hembo, or was it Hembo? It was one of those ESPN data and information people that were on Get Up and some of those morning shows. And the amount of man coverage that the Steelers play, there should be some opportunities for A.J. Brown with certain matchups. And remember, the Steelers have the 17th ranked defense in the entire league, so there should be ways for you to dial up something for strong passing routes, strong passing plays. I don't even need it to be bombs downfield. If the Pittsburgh Steelers have a good pass rush, which we know they do, get the ball in your playmakers' hands. That's okay. I don't need it to be 40 yards chucking it. I don't need it to be 50 yards, boom. I don't give a damn if it's 6 yards. I don't care if it's A.J. Brown on a slant. Whatever you can do to minimize T.J. Watt's ability, because the more time he has, there's a chance he actually beats Lane, even though most people don't beat Lane. If there is anybody who could beat Lane, it's T.J. Watt. Because as special as Lane is, T.J. Watt is that special on the other side. So if you want to get out the football quick from Jalen Hurts' hands, so you can take away one of the Steelers' strengths, think about it. The Steelers are not great just from 17th ranked defense level. They are great with their defensive line and that ability to create all sorts of chaos. If you get the football out quick, you're targeting something that's weaker and you're diminishing something that is very great with their defensive line. It's actually a recipe for success, especially with talent like AJ and Devontae. So there's a blueprint here where you're not forcing it against a team that's number one pass defense and electric corners that are just sensational with 75 different Quinyon Mitchells on the field, and we're just trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. There's actual reasons to believe that this could be a strength for a victory. There's actually schematic reasons to believe that this can be a recipe for success. And I don't want you to ignore Saquon. This should all be a package deal. Run, and then also utilize your weapons. And something that could be simple, but they don't make it this simple, is if you can work the run game. And I'm okay, by the way, with targeting, because I just said you're not forcing it, right? I just said I don't want you to force something, and this isn't forcing it. Well, I'm okay with forcing the run game because yours is that strong. Because the Steelers can stop the run, and the Ravens can stop the run. But there's a difference between believing in Saquon Barkley and this offensive line in the run game based off of what they showed us compared to the alternative with us trying to create something moving the ball downfield in the air. You know what I mean? I don't care if you have the best run defense, the second best run defense, the third best run defense. The Eagles are so spectacular that the first, second, or third can't stop it over 4 quarters. So I still want you to lean on that. But in theory, it would be nice to gain leverage based off of your strength, which is Saquon. Get Jalen under center. Allow for him to run some play action, which should be able to create shots downfield to some degree, because you know Mike Tomlin is going to want to stop 26 as much as humanly possible. He's going to say, all right, we're going to make Saquon earn it. They're going to hand it off, but we better go gang tackle. We better go get 3 guys right into his face within seconds as soon as he gets the football. Make sure you don't lose contain of Jalen, and make sure you have someone available in case Jalen Hurts keeps the football and he's able to run on any sort of option plays. But Saquon's not taking us down. Well, if that's a clear goal of theirs, and you start faking and allowing the play action game to develop, then how are there not opportunities downfield to make us satisfied? It's been a hell of a week, huh? It's been a hell of a week. Oh, man. It's been a fragile week. Do they have the mental makeup to handle it all? My gut says they are different from last year. My gut says Nick Sirianni has learned from previous failures, has learned from rougher moments. He's a young coach. There's a lot to learn. I heard him speak earlier today about looking into the way Steve Kerr coaches and the way Steve Kerr handles success and the way Steve Kerr likes to develop different values for his locker room. And this isn't the first time we've heard Nick Sirianni speak about taking the craft from others or reading how others attack the craft and trying to formulate a way to utilize those skill sets with what you do well. It's a sign of a good leader. It's a sign of a good coach. I'm actually very impressed with Nick Sirianni. He normally stumbles. He normally spews garbage. You know when it's a bunch of BS. And I'm not taking every word for A.J. Brown here. I'm not taking it for face value. I'm not taking every single word of Jalen Hurts for face value. But you know when it's straight up BS. You know when it is absolute trash. I think they gave you player speak, but they gave you player speak with conviction. They gave you player speak where it seems like there was a message sent to the entire team, and they're all delivering the same message. That means they're buying into it, whether they mean it or not. Because I do think there's some version of turmoil where maybe AJ and Jalen aren't in the best spot in the entire world right now. But even if that's the case, it's about the image you sell. And if you're all selling the same image, to me, that means you're on the same page. Because you know when it goes off the rocker. We're seeing Deebo Samuel and all sorts of others. We got a dude on the 49ers running away when his number's called and say, I don't want to even play. Yo, I don't even want to play. Whenever I get a chance to take a shot at the 49ers, you damn know well I'm going to. But man, what a clown show right now in San Francisco. All those lunatic, moronic radio host who was giving us all sorts of crap during the times of the playoffs and during the 49ers run, they're all crying out their ass online making videos and they can't believe it. As bad as it is here, screw you. Screw you, San Francisco. Oh, man. But that's dysfunction to an even higher level. There's dysfunction here, but there seems to be a commitment to fighting through the dysfunction for the better of the team. And there's probably some version of dysfunction to some degree all around the league, even on championship caliber teams. I guess the difference is it doesn't get out. Or maybe not. I don't know. In 2017, 2017, you got the whole Carson Wentz, Nick Foles shrine. You got people pretty much admitting, I don't give a damn about Carson Wentz anymore. This dude with the big dick, he's the one slinging it around the football field. So, yeah, I mean, turmoil is everywhere. It's how you handle it. That makes you the best. And this team's putting their best foot forward to try their best to attack it the way they feel is necessary. And I don't hate it. I don't hate what they've done. Still hard to process. Love Brandon Graham. Love Brandon Graham. We all love Brandon Graham. I don't know how he thought that was the best way to operate. All right, so we played Mailata audio. We played Jalen Hurts audio. As we round out the pod, here is A.J. Brown in front of his locker with the crazy amount of media in his face. Take a listen.
AJ, obviously there's been a lot of talk, especially from Brandon Graham, about your relationship with Jalen.
Yeah.
Do you just want to offer any clarity on what's going on there?
Yeah, BG is just being BG. He's emotional. In that case, he just misspoke. You know, me and Jalen are good. So it's BG. Everybody loves BG. You know, he's speaking from the heart. You know, he's just giving his perception on something from the outside. So
Yeah, he's around you guys, all the time. Though, could you see where there might be a misperception based off of?
I think that's what everybody. I think that's what the world did. You know, they perceived what I said about passing and felt like it was an attack on Jalen, and I think that's what he did. You know, me and Jalen relationship.
So I cut it off there. He says the relationship is good. He goes BG from the outside, and then you also have Jalen going with the with the disappointed father take with some harsh criticism as well. He knows what he did wasn't right. So I don't know. Obviously they feel that type of way. And also, if you want to dive deeper into it, which I don't want to do this, but what is, quote, good? Good as in we can work and it can be okay? Or is it we're best friends still? And quite frankly, it just needs to be good enough to be professional, right? Whether there is some turmoil between the two, whether something did happen or whatnot. But, when you say passing, it is about Jalen Hurts, and it's right to say that passing needs to improve for sure. But I actually liked A.J. Brown later on clarified about how it does have to... It's essentially more about if we are trying to win the whole thing, if it's not just about competing in the dance and actually winning the dance competition, which is the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the day, this passing game's not going to cut it. So it's not about, hey, we won a game on Sunday at 1 o'clock against the Carolina Panthers, because they expect to do that. It's the way we are playing now. Is that relatable to a championship trophy? And he feels no. And I believe there's truth to him feeling no. And that's sort of how I took the comments post-game. But it does relate back to Jalen can't throw the football right now. No matter how you want to shake it. It's Jalen was awful against Carolina. And that level of piss-poor play throwing the football won't work. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. But that was his thoughts. Was more long-term thinking. What we're doing now, does that equal Super Bowl? And he feels no. And I think he has the right to feel that way. And if that's his mindset, like Jalen is, I won, I'm happy. I don't care how we win, I'm happy. And while I don't think that's ludicrous to some degree, it hides context. It hides bad stuff. He did have a vibe of, this is who I am, take it or leave it, and I'm not changing. And while he is a winner, he does just win. I've done a show recently stating that he wins, and I take value in that. There's also improvement that needs to be studied within those wins. If you just take the result blindly and not study what happened that was good, what happened that was bad, what happened that was mediocre, you're never going to improve. You're never going to improve. And I was asked this question as a Jalen Hurts supporter that I am, and I didn't even know how to answer it. And we'll kind of leave it here, and I guess maybe we can revisit this on another day because I'm focused on the Steelers game. But where has Jalen Hurts improved since coming here? And my original thought was, because I couldn't really say X, Y, and Z, I think he came in with such a good base that he may have not have improved significantly in a billion areas, but he came in strong and well and good and above average as a good base where there might be lower lows for other quarterbacks, and then as they improve, they get better. But, like other quarterbacks year one may be worse than Jalen was year one, and then when they improve, they get to where Jalen was when he was first getting started. Does that make sense? When Jalen got into the league year one, other quarterbacks come into the league worse than Jalen was. Then they improve year two. They were as good as Jalen was year one. Even though Jalen wasn't magnificent, he wasn't the greatest in the world, but he came in with a sound base. And that's why the improvement, quote unquote, isn't as wow. But I think there are minor advancements in different areas of his game that has helped him over the years. It's just not as wow. for whatever that's worth. All right, getting a little sidetracked. With that, we're going to wrap things up here. Before I let you go, my friends over at Garage Beer, they're the best in the entire world. Nothing better on game days than having a beautiful, outstanding light beer like Garage Beer. Don't worry about that IPA taste. This is the best in the business when it comes to the light beer. DrinkGarageBeer.com. Check out the information in the description. Thank you all so much. I greatly appreciate it, and I will catch you all on the next one.